Good morning. I hope you're having a good weekend. And I hope you've been enjoying these Sunday morning videos. So today, I'd like to talk about the heart of the process. What is the heart of the process relative to the way that Blue Collar Enlightenment teaches it? And I'm going to be rather blunt and plain with the language here and with the description of the heart of the process. The heart of the process is your willingness and your courage to dive into the crucible of truth and vulnerability. Specifically, to be willing to be completely open and vulnerable. And here's where I'm being direct, okay? In the crucible of a teaching. And in Blue Collar Enlightenment, we just had a really beautiful heart of the process moment in one of our online webinars. We all met in this online cyberspace, and we could all be with each other. And in those 2 hours, many were really ripe at this point in the course to be completely open and vulnerable. And this vulnerability to find and this openness to allow truth in this crucible of the teaching work is the heart of the process. Where we essentially and usually for the individual, it means really coming to terms with just the one basic element of life or spirituality that you're running from. And the one basic element that is your source of, usually, of suffering or pain or separation. It's slightly different for everybody. So in this most recent get-together, those points were different for a few, but some of the common themes: brokenness, chronic worrying or stress. I spoke of my own, which was existential depression. And for someone else, it was this indecision, this lack of clarity. So when you really are willing to meet these points of resistance, these shadows, or what I sometimes call your invitation, when you're really willing to meet them in the crucible of a teaching work that's intimate, where consciousness and awareness is magnified, you're in a relaxed state, and you're willing to allow the pain and the friction of those elements completely to be there and to be present, that's the heart of the process. When your heart completely opens, you let go, and everyone else that is there supporting you, or you have a great feeling of support from a teacher and from the group that's present. There's this beautiful clarity, this beautiful relaxation, this beautiful peace, this great intensity and energy. And if you're willing to meet that which you are most afraid of, that which is something you've been running from, that which is not been met, if you're willing to do that in that space, this is the heart of the process, the heart of awakening. So what happens in the midst of this heart is very interesting. It's miraculous, it's magical. And it's strange too, in a way. So person steps up, and we have a little dialogue, and then the question is asked. What is it that, what is the rapport, what is it you're feeling right now, what is coming up? And then, in my own case, I'm usually just a few verbal cues allow me to guide whoever is speaking to that one particular element, to the brokenness, to the suffering, to the anxiety. And then we go meet it. Then there's an invitation by the group and by myself to meet that anxiety, or to meet that fear, or to meet your particular shadow, source of separation. And then what happens if the individual is ready, if they have the courage, and if just the right elements line up, then there's usually a release. And there's a aha moment right there. Sometimes tears will be shed. Sometimes energy occurs. There can be a sort of a rattling of the nervous system. And then there's just this great relief that follows this. And what's paradoxical and strange is that you here there's this, you meet this fear, you meet this energy, and it's uncomfortable, and then immediately afterwards there's this deep relaxation. I mean, think about any of the times that you've ever really cried, a good one. Your body convulses, energy is released, muscles relax, and then afterwards there's this deep stillness, there's this deep peace. And this is the heart of the process in Blue Collar Enlightenment, in good spiritual awakening work, where you do this, but this is not therapy, this is not just getting you to cry. What's different is that all the while, you see, you've been invited, you've been called forth to be really super aware, to be as conscious as one can possibly be. Add to that the consciousness of the teacher and the consciousness and the awareness of the group, and you have a really amazing, as I've said before, crucible where all of this takes place and supports you in meeting the core of separation. And then you see it, and then it dissolves, and that is the heart of the process. I'm not saying that that's all of the process, certainly not. There's a lot of steps and elements that lead up to that are notes and songs that are part of this symphony that lead up to the apex, to the point in the symphony where you're just like, ah, so beautiful, divine. So that's my best attempt to explain really all of the work in my course, that where it leads to and how it helps you and benefits you. That's the real jewel in the teaching work, and in the real jewel in any good spiritual awakening teaching work, where you really get into this intense, beautiful, peaceful, aware space with the teacher or with a group, and you resonate in that space, and it has an evolutionary, transformative effect on your body, mind, emotion, consciousness. And my sincerest wish for you is that you experience this sooner than later, that you experience the magic of this transformation and the magic of the heart of the process. And this is why I send these videos. This is why I offer the course. This is why I do everything that I do. It all leads to that, really, for me and the way I teach, to that moment for you. But the last thing I'll say, I could go on forever about this because it's just such good stuff. This it's not just my teaching, obviously, but it is, I think, a universal, evolutionary quality that is happening right now. And so wherever you get it, this is my wish for you, that you find this heart, that you find this moment, that you make this moment available, that you have the courage to make it available, that you have the energy, that you have the resources, that you have the time, the ability, the intelligence to give this to yourself. This is my wish for you. Okay, enough said. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and you have a great week. Leave a comment. Happy to hear from you, happy to interact, and we will see you in a week. Adios.